Alright, my fellow Blender maniacs, before we get into the tutorial, I want to let you know about something special that I put together for you. Now, this I'm super passionate about. I put my heart and my soul into this, and this is the Ultimate Blender 3D course that I am pre-launching. Now, I took my 6 years of experience with Blender and put it all into this course right here. So in this course, we're going to cover from the very basics all the way to the more advanced things. We're going to cover things such as the very basics of navigation and interface, to modeling, to texturing, to materials, all the way to sculpting, modeling a character, rigging that character, texturing it, making a whole animation with it, to other things such as the graph editor, the node editor, bump maps, and also many, many more. I mean, in this course, there's over 100 lectures, 20 plus hours of video content, and it covers over 70 plus topics that we're going to take a look at in Blender. So if you've ever wanted to learn the art of 3D, this is the course for you. You're going to come out of this course with the skills, the knowledge, the know-how, and the enthusiasm to be able to create whatever you have in your imagination and bring it forth and to life in the world of 3D arts. So right now, the pre-launch sale is very, very low. It's probably never going to be this low again. But right now, the course will be released in 15 days on September 15. But at the pre-launch price, it's discounted, and also you get a special bonus offer as well. So make sure to click on the link below, and you could actually go to a page where you could reserve your spot to be one of the first 100 to get that special bonus if you're one of the first 100, or if you want it to have it at the lowest price that will ever be, get on there and get it now. So click the link below, make sure to check out the landing page that I have set up here, and make sure to reserve your spot because I know you'll get tons of value from this. Alright, look forward to serving you in this awesome adventure, and really happy to be bringing this course to you. And again, put my heart and soul into it, so I know you'll get lots of value. Go ahead, click the link below, and now let's get on with our tutorial. Hello, my fellow Blender maniacs, Alex Cordobard here. We're gonna jump into this tutorial right away. And of course, follow me on my Facebook, subscribe, all of that. And before we get started, if you have any questions or need anything, write me a comment, send me a message. I'm here to help and serve you. Alright, so in this tutorial, we're going to make a Pokeball. Pretty cool. Now, Pokemon Go is all the rave these days, and back then, it was the thing. And apparently it still is. So, let's make a Pokeball in here. First thing we want to do is delete the default cube. And hitting X, we're going to delete the cube. Poor cube. He's always usually not needed. Shift A, we're now going to add in a UV sphere. And hitting 1 to go into front view, 5 to go into orthographic view, and then hitting tab to go into edit mode. And one last one, Z to go into wireframe. Now hitting B to box select, let's box select all these, and hit X and delete the vertices. By the way, leave a comment down below. Let me know if you're a Pokemon fan or if you ever were. I know if you're too old now and you're too cool for that, it's okay. You could just say, I was a Pokemon fan. It's completely cool. I get it. I get it. Now, hitting tab to go into edit mode. Z to go into solid mode. Let's select this vertex right here and hit X and delete the vertices. Alt right clicking these to select the edge loop. Let's hit Shift S, cursor to selected, and then Shift A and add in a circle. Let's change the vertices of this to 8 and hit RX 90 degrees. Alright, now scaling it down with the S key, and before we do, however, I changed my mind. Hold on one second. Let's Shift select these vertices, X, and delete the vertices, and then Alt right click it, scale it down, and bring it up. Cool. Now I want to snap it to these vertices here. So to do that, if we go down here, we have a snapping element. And if we select vertex as a snapping element, now if we hit G and then hold down Control, it will snap whatever you have to the vertices. So we could also do this with the scaling, which is pretty cool, by the way. If we hit S and hold down Control, we could S and snap it to that vertex right there. Cool. And now what we want to do is grab the Pokeball vertices. So not this little sphere that we added, but the Pokeball vertices, these ones right here. Hit G and hold down Control and snap them there. And do that with all the vertices around there. G to grab and Control to snap it. Hold down Control. Yeah, I mean, growing up, Pokemon was definitely cool. And of course, Magic the Gathering. That was pretty awesome as well. All right, hitting A to select everything. W, remove doubles. But we're talking about Pokemon here, so I won't talk about Magic. And now what I want to do is, this is looking a bit blocky, so let's add a Subsurf modifier to this. Now if we go to the Modifiers tab, we could click Add Modifier and Subsurf, but you know, that wastes like 5 seconds. So the shortcut key for that is Control 2, and that will add a Subsurf modifier, and there we go. So that's the shortcut key for that. Let's go ahead and click Smooth Shading as well. Now Subsurf, if you're not familiar with it, quickly, basically what it does is it subdivides the mesh, adds more geometry to it, and smooths it out. So pretty cool, without actually changing our mesh itself. Now, let's Alt right click this right here, this edge loop, E to extrude, and Z, and let's bring it up just a millimeter. Literally, just a millimeter. Hitting 1 to go back into front view. Now what I want to do is go ahead and Alt Shift right click both of those edge loops. Go ahead and hit Shift D and Z to bring this up. And then I'm going to just leave it right here. Now I want to go ahead and add in some depth to this. So Alt right clicking the top right here. I'm going to deselect these by B to box select, and then middle mouse click and drag will deselect those. There's another little handy tool for you. And then hitting E to extrude, Z, let's bring that up. What I'm going to do now is actually Alt right click this loop cut right here, or this edge loop. Shift select these right here as well. So we have all of these selected. And go ahead and hit E to extrude and scale it in. And we want to scale it in by hitting S and Shift Z so that it actually doesn't scale on the Z axis. Actually, we do want it to scale on the Z axis, but let's hit S to scale. And what we'll do actually to bring it back up is go ahead, and right now, by the way, I'm scaling on the pivot point. So right here, you could change it to 3D cursor for the pivot point instead of medium point, and it will scale around this 3D cursor. So hit Shift S, cursor to selected. Man, I'm fumbling on my words here. Shift S, cursor is selected. Make sure it's on 3D cursor. E to extrude. And then scale it down to about so. And then hit G and Z and hold down Control to snap it up to there. And maybe scale it down a little bit. G, Z, bring it down to there. All right, cool. Now I'm going to grab this vertex and this one. Hit G, Z, snap it to there. Grab this one and this one, G, Z, snap it to there. Cool. Now I'm just going to go ahead and smooth this out. Hitting A to select everything. You can see this weird formation right here, this weird shading. That's because we have our normals flipped. Hitting Control N will fix that right away. All right, cool. So now what I want to do is actually, I'm going to edge slide. I'm going to add in a loop cut. Well, first I want to separate this. So selecting one vertex, Control L. Let's hit P to separate the selection. so that now it's a separate object. And I don't know why we're still in orthographic view. Let's hit 5 to go into perspective. Orthographic hurts my head. All right, now what I want to do is right here, you can see we have some weird pinching right here. So I'm going to hit Control R, add in a loop cut right here. And same thing with the other side, Control R, add in a loop cut right there to sharpen it out. All right, awesome. Now let's add some thickness to this Pokeball, because I don't know if it's just been a long time, but when I was watching Pokemon, I don't think the Pokeballs were this thin. I mean, it's like an eggshell. Pokeballs are not eggs. That's the quote for today. Pokeballs are not eggs. So let's go to the add modifier. Let's add a modifier, solidify. And this basically adds thickness to your geometry. So let's increase this to something like 0.6-ish or so. And now you can see that we have some strange artifact going on here. We could fix that easily by going to add modifier and adding an edge split modifier, which basically splits the angles of the edges to make them sharper so that we don't have that weird shading going on there. Cool. Let's go ahead and do the same with this right here. So adding in a solidify modifier. I want it to be a little bit less, of course. So thickness, bring it up a bit. And then add in a modifier, edge split. All right, cool. So now, let's see how that is. And over here, I want to add in a loop cut here to straighten this out because it's kind of rounded off at the top, which we don't want. So in edit mode, Control R, add in a loop cut here. And that will sharpen it out nicely there. Now I want to edge slide these a little bit because it's pinching it a little bit too much for my liking. So Alt right clicking this, you can edge slide a loop cut by hitting G twice. And it will basically edge slide like that. So let's do that for both of them. Alt right click and then G twice to edge slide. Slide. All right, cool. So now I'm going to bring this down so that it's inside the Pokeball. I actually want to scale this down. So what I'm going to do is if I hit S, it's going to scale around there. So I want to hit Tab to go into edit mode. A to select everything and Shift S, cursor to selected. And now it will scale around the cursor because we have the pivot point set to 3D cursor. Pretty self-explanatory, but critical. So now if I hit S to scale it down, it will scale it down like so. I really like saying like so. I don't know. It must be the French in me. Like so. Like so. All right. Cool. All right. So now what we want to do is basically go ahead and copy this over to the top. So I'm going to select the sphere right here and this one right here. And now we're going to have to redo everything. No, I'm just kidding. Hitting Shift D and then Z to copy it. Then S and Z and -1. And that will scale it on the Z axis -1 times. And just bring it down. And hit G and Z and bring it down. All right, cool. So now that we have that, what we want to do is go ahead and I'm going to see about adding a loop cut in right here as well to sharpen that out. And on this one as well, Control R, add a loop cut there so that it's more flush with our object. Cool, 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 cool. So now what I want to do is go ahead and select this. Alt right click this edge loop. Shift S, cursor to selected. And then hitting in object mode, hitting Shift A, let's add a mesh circle. And R to rotate X 90 degrees. And scale it in like so. Let's bring it into the center. What I want to do now is go ahead and hit Control 2 to add a Subsurf level to that. And then selecting this, I'm actually going to extrude it first. So selecting this one, E to extrude and scale it down. That way we could see a little bit what's happening. Let's bring it up above here. And then selecting this first edge loop, E to extrude and Y and bring it in like that. All right, cool. Now I'm going to select this right here, hit tab to go into edit mode. And first, I'm going to hit 5 to go into orthographic as well. Position this in the center. And then select these 2 edge loops and just bring them in so that they're within. I'm actually going to scale this up a bit more first because I actually want this a little bit over this part of the Pokeball. And then bringing these in so that they're inside the ring right there. And these ones as well. So just shift right clicking. The Pokeball is coming out nicely. All right, cool. So like that. Hitting 5 to go back into perspective mode. Now the question is, what Pokemon is going to be captured with this? Or actually, what Pokemon is going to come out? For me, I think it would be Charizard. I'm going to hit S to scale this. And then E to extrude and Y. And then just hit F to fill in that face. A to select everything, and then Control N to recalculate the normals. And let's go ahead and smooth this out like that. And add a modifier, edge split modifier. And actually, before the edge split, I want to remove this. We might not even need it. We want to add in some loop cuts. So Control R, add in a loop cut here, down here, and just Control R and add in loop cuts all around here. So how about for you? What Pokemon would it be for you? I mean, just personal opinion, but you know, Charizard is the thing. Although now there's lots of new Pokemon. I guess I'm kind of old school. You guys can tell my age now, right? I'm all old school with my Pokemon. I'm going to hit tab to go into edit mode, select this, and bring it down a bit. And bring these 2 down a bit as well. Make it more circular and not so oval. I don't think that's a word, but make it not so oval-y. I think that's a word. I'm going to hit tab to go into edit mode of this, Control tab, face select mode. Select this and E to extrude and scale it down. Whenever you add a loop cut on a mesh that is subdivided, or that's subdivided with a Subsurf modifier, it sharpens it out. So wherever, if there's edge loops that are closer together, like here, you could see the closer it is, the sharper it is. So keep that in mind, and you can definitely sharpen objects with loop cuts when you have the Subsurf modifier. Alrighty then, let's see. Let's see if I edge slide this out. Nah. I'm just gonna edge slide this one out a tiny bit more. Edge slide this one down. Same thing with these ones. Edge slide them out. So Alt right clicking these and G twice to edge slide. Let's do the same thing with these up here. Yeah, let me know in the comments down below what Pokemon you would pick. I'm interested to see, actually. All right, cool. So there's our Pokeball. Looks legit as can be. So it looks pretty cool. I mean, it might just be because, you know, because we made it together, but it looks cool. All right, now what I want to do is go ahead, maybe scale this up a little bit more. S to scale. I'm going to go inside of here. I'm going to hit Shift H to hide everything except for this. Tab to go into edit mode. Alt right click this. And F to fill in that face. Control R, add a loop cut here, and then hit Alt H to unhide all of that. All right, cool. Now, the last thing we want to do is make it so that our Pokeball could actually open. So for that, what I'm going to do is, let's see. I want to select this right here. And before I select this, I'm going to hit H to hide that. 1 to go into front view. I want to kind of, let me see. I want to kind of bring these out right here. Actually, what I'm going to do is select both of these. SX. Scale them on the X-axis. Just a hair. And then same thing with these ones. SX. And scale them like that. Just so that it's a little bit more circular. All right, cool. And this is a very precise procedure. It's almost like surgery. I feel like we're doing Pokeball surgery. All right, there we go. Enough fooling around. All right. I'm also, let's see, hitting 5 to go into orthographic. Looks pretty good. I just want to bring this up a little bit. Maybe that one. All right, there we go. Hitting Alt H to unhide that. I now want to select this one, Shift right click that one, and Shift select the top last, and hit Control P and set the parent to object. Now, what a parent does, it's called a parent-child relationship, and basically, whichever objects you select first are the children, and the last object you select is the parent. So this one is the parent of these children. So whatever this one does, the other ones will follow along and do as well. Now I'm going to hit Control 1 to go to the back of this. Hit Tab to go into edit mode. Actually, I want to go to edit mode of this right here. Select this vertex here, Shift S, cursor to selected. And then we're going to add an empty here, Shift A, add empty. Plane axes, and scale it down. And an empty is basically an object that doesn't render in your scene. It's just used there to manipulate other objects. Hitting delete on the numpad will allow you to zoom in, and so that the rotation is a little bit better, because right there was a little crazy. I'm going to bring this in just so that it goes right into the mesh right there. Now selecting the top of the sphere, Shift selecting the parent, or the empty, sorry. Control P and set the parent to object. Now if I select the empty and hit R and X, we can open our Pokeball and Charizard comes out. Or whatever Pokemon you have. Charizard's the best. Alright. So there you have it, ladies and gents. There's our Pokeball. Pretty cool. And then if you hit Alt R, it will clear the rotation of that. So once again, RX to open the Pokeball, and then you could hit RX, and then Alt R will clear the rotation and set it back to its center spot. All right, cool. So there is our Pokeball. Let's go to the next part of the tutorial, and we'll see about adding materials in this Pokeball, to this Pokeball. All right, once again, my name is Alex Corbart. Appreciate all of you. Let me know if you have any questions. Please like and comment on this video. Subscribe for more. Like us on Facebook. And once again, keep an eye out for my course. It's coming out shortly. And let me know in the comments down below also, what Pokemon will you have coming out of your Pokeball? All right. See you soon. Au revoir.